welcome. Today I have some card share using the Hero Arts February 2018, my monthly hero kit, which I receive in a subscription. The subscription is $34.99 a month, and it includes free shipping, and also you have the option of adding some add-ons to your order, which will also ship free once a month. So far I'm enjoying it. This is my third month as a subscriber, so this is the third kit that I've received. In this February kit, we have this very large stamp and die set. This is a 6x8 stamp set and 24 coordinating dies, so this is a huge amount. This alone is probably worth more than the $35 for the subscription fee. Pretty interesting. I'm not much of a bird person, but I was able to find a little bit of my groove and to find some stuff to do, and I'm anxious to show that off. Also in the kit, we got 3 different ink cubes. We have Nest, which is a lovely brown color, Feathers, a light green, and Robin's Egg, which is a light blue. I'm not a big bird person, but when I think of Robin's Egg blue, I don't actually think of this color. I think of more like a brighter, almost Tiffany blue. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I'm not sure if I've ever actually even seen any robin's eggs in real life, but when I think of robin's egg, this isn't the blue that I think of, so I thought that was pretty neat. And I do label them with my label maker. I just make little labels to put on all of my Hero Arts inks just so that I can remember for future reference what color it is, because as you will see, as I show some more stuff off, as I will pull them out and combine them with other projects. So I really do like these inks. I find them beautifully pigmented. They're nice and juicy. They're easy to blend. I love working with those inks. Okay, anyway, so also in the kit, there were a couple of pieces of wood-grained embossed cardstock, which I've pretty much used them all up, so I don't even have any to show off right now, and 2 mini grapevine wreaths, small little wrapped in round embellishments, which you will see because I use them in some projects. So moving right along, one of the first things that I did was open up the stamp set and pull stuff out and plop some down on my stamp positioner just to play around with them a little bit. So one of the first cards that I made just a plain simple background for, and I really like the way that this background came out. Again, I had just placed a bunch of stamps randomly in my stamp positioner. I just wanted to get a feel for the colors, so I started with the Robin's Egg blue. And I stamped it down. I didn't even prep the stamps or anything, so they stamped a bit speckled and spotted, but I actually liked that. I liked the look of it, and I wondered if I could take it a step further. So just for funsies, I tossed a layer of Nest right on over the stamps. I didn't bother to clean the stamps or anything. Plop it on, and it gave me another layer of sort of speckled the brown on the blue, which I really loved how that turned out. And I decided when I was assembling the cards, I decided that I was actually going to use the background because I liked it so much. I just mounted it on a standard A2 5.5 by 4 3/4 cardstock. This I propped up with foam to give it a little bit of dimension. This is one of those grapevine wreaths that come with the kit. I haven't looked exhaustively, but I don't think that this is something you can purchase separately. I white heat embossed on a scrap of the wood grain cardstock, which I actually used as the matting here. The brown, which they're calling a Babinga wood grain cardstock. I had a scrap of that, so I white heat embossed the sentiment, sending hugs, on a little piece of the brown, and then I cut it to fit within the little wreath here, and I used a bit of that ribbon from the kit. And I don't have much left because it's so pretty. This pretty blue color, just to kind of pull it together and pull some of the blues that you can see from underneath the birds together. This sentiment I mounted on a little foam square within they're calling it a wreath. I did want to point out I tried several different kinds of adhesive with these wreaths, and the only thing that I could get to work to actually keep it on is the E6000. I put great big globs of it underneath there and it stayed put. I'm still not entirely convinced that this is something that I would send in the mail. I'm not sure if it would pop off or not. I might be more comfortable using this as a greeting for somebody that I would give in person. But I do really love the simplicity and how this one turned out. It's probably my favorite. While using the stamps still on the stamp positioner, I made a second background exactly the same, only I white heat embossed it using Wow Opaque Bright White embossing powder that I pulled from my stash. We have another piece of the ribbon. I mounted this on the, what are they calling it? The stone wood grain cardstock, just to mat it. And then on a scrap, I heat embossed the sentiment Happy Birthday in this metallic blue, which is actually from Recollections. Pearl embossing powder called Sapphire. And I pulled this one from my stash. The background, I decided to do a little bit of inking, so I used some Distress Oxide colors. I believe this one is Broken China and Cracked Pistachio that I was playing with on this. And as you can see, it's still stamped a little speckled, if you will. This was still using the brand new stamp, so they worked out a little bit better after a couple of more stamps from this. But I had a lot of fun with this one as well. I liked the color combination. I thought that it came out really nice, and I really liked the way that the ribbon looks. So very simple. This one's also mounted on foam as well. Very simple. I like this one a lot. So I had a little fun with some of the other inks that came in previous Hero Arts kits that I grabbed. I black heat embossed using, what do I have here? Whispers black embossing powder, which I actually don't care for. So I would not recommend. I think it's a little bit too thick. I keep trying to use it up so I can buy something else. So that's why that's out here. I just stamped like a night scene, like birds on a wire, if you will. I just hand drew the wire in with, oh goodness, my Ranger Black Emboss It pen. And then I just heat embossed the whole thing, and white heat embossed the what's the word sentiment. So a couple of birds landing on this wire and a night sky. These are just blended from the previous Hero Arts kit colors. I think this one's called Sapphire, Blue Topaz, and Pink Tourmaline maybe. I'm not sure what the name of this one is, but. And then I used my white gel pen, my Jelly Roll pen, to just, I don't have it right in front of me, but it's just a plain white Jelly Roll pen to put some stars in the sky and just mount it on some black cardstock on a white base. So I thought that one was kind of fun. This next one, I actually clear heat embossed this one, and I stamped it with VersaFine ink, and then I clear heat embossed over that, and I thought it came out a lot better. Again, this is not my favorite embossing powder. I don't know if it's necessarily that it's black. I know a lot of people have issues with the black embossing powder. I have issues with this Whisper brand. I don't think that it's fine enough for a lot of the detailed embossing that I try to do with it. So I am trying to use up this black so that I can try something else. I've heard that the Brutus Monroe black is really good. So I'll try that. Anyway, moving on. White heat emboss, and I did some ink blending over it. The same sort of colors and methods that I used with this one. I went with the darker pinkish red for the bottom. Same thing, just a night silhouette, night sky with a silhouette. Moving on. Here is what I'm guessing. I'm not a bird person, so I'm just kind of guessing. I think this is a cardinal that I made red, standing on a branch. I stamped a couple music notes that kind of went along with the theme, and for that I used the Delicata Golden Glitz, which was a lot of fun. Oops, I just popped the cap off of that. So I really enjoyed that. This is that wood grain, what are they calling it? Babinga. It's like a nice rich brown wood grain paper. I heat embossed Chirping You On in gold, and for that I used the Nuvo Gold embossing powder. A couple of things. The wood grain cardstock, surprisingly, I didn't even think it was going to work. It stamps beautifully on the embossed side, and it heat embossed just fine. I wish that I had not used a metallic embossing powder on this particular sentiment, because in some light it's hard to show up, but it did actually stamp and heat emboss nicely. I think it's just the fault of the the way that the light is hitting the wood grain. It's a little bit difficult to show up. So, but it did work beautifully. I wish that I had just used a non-metallic color. And for the matting on this one, I actually used, I don't know, like a really long time ago, I did an AliExpress haul. And I hauled this pack of 6x6 designer paper. That was really inexpensive. I think it was only $1 or $2. And I was actually going to hang on to it until fall. And I was reaching for something else on the shelf and I accidentally knocked it over. And I saw this pattern paper right here with kind of the brown and the mint. It reminded me of this feather green and this nest color trees on it. And I was like, oh, I wonder if that would work. So I pulled it out and sure enough, I think it looks really nice with this set. So I used that paper. It was fortuitous that I am so clumsy and knocked some paper over. So just a little bit of background in here for a little color and interest. Again, I used the Chirping You On sentiment. Oh, and I put a little, what is it called? My Spectrum Noir Shimmer pen on the cardinal just for funsies. Might save that card for my daughter. Next one up, again using that same background paper that comes from this A Fox's Tale. It's more of a fall themed paper pack, but I thought it looked nicely. This came from AliExpress. So the same background paper. This one, I wanted to find a bird with its kind of flying a little bit. I don't know what kind of bird this is. I'm a terrible bird person. More of that brown wood grain cardstock, more of this gray cardstock, which came out much better. I heat embossed in black. So happy for you. I was thinking with the little eggs in the nest, it might be kind of like a new baby announcement, or a new baby congratulations card. Who knows? I had a lot of fun with this one. This nest is not a stamp, but it is a die. And it is, you can pop some of the little cuts out of it to make it more of a 3D kind of thing. I didn't want to do that, so I didn't in this case, but you can. I propped it up with some foam dots. I did want to talk to you about how I made the bird egg, the speckled bird eggs, which was kind of experimental, and I really liked the way that it turned out. I took a very light, I sponged lightly some feather ink on a piece of white cardstock, and then I sponged over it sporadically a thicker layer of this robin's egg ink, and I ended up with a really pretty sort of greenish bluish thing, and I wanted it to get speckled, so I just did a little experimenting, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull it out or not. I squished some of my Delicata Golden Glitz ink right onto an acrylic block, and then I spritzed it with just the tiniest little bit of water, and then went in with my watercolor brush and mixed it together and ended up with kind of a really pigmented gold watercolor, if you will. And then I just kind of splashed it on this page, and I thought that it came out really nice. And I used the another case where we have the die, but it doesn't have a coordinating stamp, the egg, and I just die cut a bunch of eggs from it. I thought that it came out really nice. I don't know if you can see in my terrible lighting and my terrible setup. So I really like the way that turned out. I have plenty of this paper left for future projects, so I just slipped it right into this pocket here, and I'll keep it together, and maybe the next time I need it, I'll know exactly where it is. It's right in the envelope with the die. I had a lot of fun making that. And I thought that the Golden Glitz worked out beautifully with it. It was a lot of fun. Okay, moving on. The next one, we have another mini grapevine wreath that I've used, the second one in the kit, and again I had to use the E6000, was the only adhesive that I could get that would keep this on the card. I just, the same pattern from the A Foxtail, only they had a lighter colored version of it that I've pulled out for this one. I think this is a dove, maybe, and I made kind of a wreath of my own around it using the branch Stampin' Die and the feather Stampin' Dies. I really like this one. And the bird is propped up with a little foam dots to kind of prop it out as much as the grapevine wreath. Okay, Last card that I have to show off is another simple one that I had a blast with. This was kind of a last minute throw together. I happened to notice that there is this branch and leaf, but there's no coordinating stamp for it. So I thought that I would cut it out and see what it is. And I had some extra paper and I made another nest, and I thought that looked really nice. Kind of the leaves underneath the nest, and I used a couple more of those eggs that I made with the speckled, and then I used the golden glitz again, and this was just an experiment. I wanted to see how it's stamped on this textured cardstock. It's a very fine cardstock, and it's stamped beautifully. I used another Hero Art set, actually, this animal print set, which I love having this, and I'm glad I invested in it, but I've never used this on its own to make a card. I'm always using it on other cards to sort of accent it when I'm using other characters. And this tiger one here I actually use as a swatch. But like if I'm doing a card with a dog in it, then I'll do the dog paw print or the cat paw prints or something. But I used this bird paw print and made kind of a little walking trail up the card in the Delicata ink, and I was really pleased with how that turned out. And then I just kind of, at this point I was pretty much out of most of the wood grain paper, so I just kind of mounted it on the same ivy green that I used for the leaves down here, and white heat embossed the congrats sentiment. Again, I was kind of thinking with the birds and the egg, it kind of reminds me of like a new baby announcement. Like that would be appropriate for a new baby card. So that is what I did pull together for my cards. Let's see how many there are. Oops, I'm making a mess here. 2, 4, 6, 8 cards. So I think I might be getting a little bit of my groove back. That's more than I was able to pull together last month. I did have a lot more fun with this one. There is a bonus project, which is not a card per se, but I wanted to show off what I have been working with the feathers from this stamp set. Is I've been trying to work on some recipe cards. So just experimenting different stamping styles, stamp layering for these recipe cards. Now these in particular are no good. They didn't stamp well. The measurements of the cards are all off. I was actually using that woodblock stamp that I picked up at Hobby Lobby on Tuesday with my husband that I got on clearance, and the stamp itself was not, it was not cut evenly. I'm not sure. And I tried cutting it myself and I messed it up a little bit. So I unmounted it from the wood block, which is easy enough to do, and put that in my stamp positioner. So I'm going to keep working with this idea because I think that I'm kind of getting there. And this was, I was working with some stamp layering and second generation stamping with my Distress Oxide inks. I was having fun with some different color combinations with them. So, and then here's a blank one that I was working on before I had to set it aside because I had other projects going on earlier today. But yeah, so I need to kind of work on what size I would like the cards to be. I think that the inks that I've chosen, or the ink colors that I've chosen to accent this, are perhaps a little bit too dark. If somebody's actually using them to write a recipe on, it might be a little bit difficult to do that over such dark ink that I've chosen. So I'm working on it. I just wanted to show you guys how I was inspired a little bit further with the feather images out of this set to keep going. These are just prototypes, experiments, if you will. I'm going to keep working on trying to get that rubber stamp to cooperate. It was not cut. The rubber stamp itself, I didn't notice when I bought it, was not mounted on the block straight, and the rubber is not cut evenly around it, so I tried to fix it and I messed it up more, so I don't know what to do. I paid like $2 for this thing on clearance, so I'm not exactly heartbroken about it, but I am a little bit frustrated that I can't get it to work. But this is kind of the idea that I'm going for, is recipe cards that have nice little stamped images in the background. So I'll keep working on that idea and keep you guys up to date. But it did technically belong with the Hero Arts kit because I used the Hero Arts images. So I just wanted to show that off. And that is what I have. I hope that you enjoyed and that you are inspired by some of my ideas. I do like the neutral tone color palette of this month. The light colors with the browns and the grays, and I like it a lot. I am, however, looking forward to seeing more spring colors coming up soon. So I'm sure that these birds will get a lot of use this spring as I make different cards. And I have to confess again, I'm not really a bird person. I think this one's a hummingbird. Is this one the gull? I don't even know. I don't even know which one's the seagull. I think it might be this one, but I'm not sure. I really wanted to make a Hey Gull Friend card, but I didn't want to completely blow it up, you know, and not know which one is supposed to be the gull. I think is this one, but I'm not sure. So if you know for sure, let me know. I did want to make a Hey Gull Friend card for a girlfriend of mine, so definitely, if you can help me out, let me know if I'm right and if that was the seagull. I'd appreciate that. Anyway, that's what I got. Thanks very much. I hope that you've enjoyed and that you're inspired. And definitely let me know if you've got this kit, what you think about it, what you're doing with it, down in the comments below. Or you can contact me via Instagram or Facebook when those links will be down below as well. That's what I got. You take care. Bye-bye.